The girls are boating in a river. Meanwhile, Paul, Sarah's husband, and their child watch them. They stop. Rebecca pushes Holly into the water and they have a good time. Paul helps Juno. Juno looks at Paul strangely, and Rebecca notices. This will be important later. They arrange to meet at the hotel. They talk. Paul doesn't pay attention to the road, so he crosses to the other side of the road where he crashes into another car. The car's bars fall off, and he drives it through the windscreen, killing Jessica, their little girl. Paul also dies in the accident. Sarah is dreaming with her child, wakes up in the hospital, gets out of bed, then goes into the corridor where she starts hallucinating and starts to run away, but the others find her and calm her down. 1 year later, Beth and Sarah go to Juneau's to go on a cave excursion. They talk about how Sarah needs time to process the tragedy, so they treat her gently. And here we meet all the characters: Sarah, Juno, Beth, Rebecca, Sam, and Holly. They talk a little bit about Paul, who also died in the accident. He always said, "Love each day." They talk a little bit about themselves. Typical girls' night out. You can skip this part because it's boring. Sarah has a nightmare. Juno goes for a run in the morning and wakes the others up, saying it's the big day. They're doing a group photo, and then they drive off with 2 cars to the cave. Juno doesn't bring the book about the cave, which have interesting facts about the cave and in and out ways from it. They talk about life as cavers while walking up to the cave entrance along a river. They find a deer carcass and arrive at the cave entrance. Everyone descends into the cave, Holly acting weird, so Juno tells her she has to do what she says. Sarah finds a handprint carved into the stone. They start explore the cave, where narrow holes lead the way. They stop to rest, eating and talking, and up comes the accident comes up again. They set off again. Sarah remarks that this is not what the book says the cave looks like, but Juno says never trust books, and it must be a mistake. Sarah gets stuck in the passage. She starts to panic, and they try to calm her down. The path starts to collapse. They barely free Sarah, and she is unharmed. The passage is blocked by the collapse, so they can't get out of the cave on the way back. Sarah saying the book says that there are 3 entrances and 3 exits to this cave. It turns out they're in another cave, but Juno hasn't mentioned this to anyone. This cave has theoretically never been visited before, so if they get stuck here, they can't escape. While they argue, she notices something strange. They continue on, where a chasm awaits them. Rebecca makes her way across by building a cave in the rocks, and spots a python. As she reaches across, a rope is thrown over her, and this allows everyone to climb across. Everyone succeeds, except Juno, who starts to fall, but is caught by the rope. Rebecca can't hold him with the rope. The burns tear his hand apart. The python falls out of the rock, but Juno is pulled up and escapes. It turns out they are not the first people to come here, and the python is about 100 years old and obsolete. Someone has been in this cave, but never got out. They find a hieroglyph on the wall about the cave system, analyze it, and discover that there are 2 exits, so there is a chance of survival. A cannibal is watching them. Holly thinks she sees daylight, starts to run towards it, then falls down a hole where she knocks it out her leg, and the bone sticks out of her leg. They slowly descend towards her, pulling her out of the water. Sarah hears a noise, so she starts to walk towards the sound. Beth is able to help Holly, but only if the bone is in her leg and not sticking out, so she have to push back the bone back into her leg. Sarah emerges into another room, where she begins to explore the place with her flashlight, and then notices a cannibal.
What are you doing? I just saw something.
Juno finds him. Sarah tells what she saw, but no one believes her. She tells the others, but no one believes her. They think she's hallucinating. They put a splint on Holly's leg, so she can move slowly, but she can move. They come out of the hole. The camera has night vision, and the cave contains hundreds of animal remains, which doesn't bode well. There are more tunnels, but there's no airflow coming from any of them, so they go into a tunnel at random. A cannibal appears, attacks the girls, and then suddenly disappears. They hear voices coming from the tunnel. Holly is caught by a cannibal. Juno tries to save her, but Holly is bitten by the cannibal. Juno breaks free. Beth comes to help, but Juno turns around and stabs her in the neck, thinking a cannibal is coming, eventually leaving them both there. Their flashlights are starting to dim, so they're pressed for time. Sarah has nightmares and hallucinates. One of the girls runs forward and finds herself facing cannibals, trying to stay quiet and navigate with her camera's night vision. She realizes that the cannibals can't see and are just going by sound. Two girls are stuck in a hole. A cannibal goes there, but they don't say a word, so the cannibal doesn't recognize them. Meanwhile, one of the girls shouts, so the cannibal starts to move in that direction. They start crawling this part of the cave, where there are lots of carcasses and bones, and they grab weapons. Rebecca is attacked by a cannibal, but Juno helps her and kills him. Sarah spits on the cannibal. The girls meet up again, discuss what happened, how to survive, and how to escape. They discuss the new plan. The cannibals hunt upstairs, bring the corpses here and eat them down in the cave. Someone marked the way out long ago, so they're heading that way. Sarah finds Molly and Beth. Molly tells them that Juno did this and not to trust her, to get out on her own. She finds an emblem that says, "Love each day." Paul said that all the time. Beth tells Sarah that Juno had it and that Paul gave it to her. Turns out he was cheating on Sarah with Juno. Meanwhile, she's attacked by a cannibal, but Sarah kills them. Sarah runs away, falls into a pool of blood, where she is attacked by a cannibal, but escapes. The others search for Sarah, and Juno has confronted at least 10 cannibals, so they start running. Sam comes to a precipice where he tries to climb over by setting up a rope system. The others find him, try to talk him out of it, but they fail. She crawls on the ceiling with a cannibal. After a short fight, the cannibal kills Sam, bites his throat off. Rebecca is also captured by the cannibals, leaving only Juno and Sarah alive. Juno encounters a cannibal in the water. It seems dead, but suddenly wakes up and tries to eat Juno, but she rips off his private part and kills the cannibal. Don't ask me about this scene. I don't understand it either. She starts climbing up the cave where he meets Sarah. Sarah questions him. She tells her that everyone is dead and only the two of them are left alive. Sarah has a strange look in her eyes, a look of vengeance. They drive off. The arrow shows the right way. Sarah sees this and moves Juno to the left, luring him into a trap. They find themselves facing cannibals, where Sarah uses Juno as bait and lets them attack. Juno kills the cannibals, and they face each other. Sarah shows Paul's emblem and drives the axe into Juno's leg, then leaves her for dead. She hears Juno's screams on the way. Sarah sees the light, begins to crawl up the cave through the bones and corpses, then climbs out of the cave. She finds the two cars they came in, gets in one of them, and drives off. He pulls over. A truck honks at her and scares her. Sarah wakes up, starts hallucinating, and realizes it was all a dream. She can't get out of the cave. There's no way out of the cave, and she's trapped inside forever. For the full experience, watch the full movie.